Hello and welcome to So Farscape.
A fun-filled Farscape fancast by a fervent fan.
And a fascinated first-timer.
I'm Kaki.
I'm Kay.
And this is the story So Farscape. I should have said a 4-filled because we're on season 4 finally.
We are. Season 4, episode 1, Crichton Kicks.
Yes, Crichton Kicks part 2 because it's the second part of the two-parter that started with...
right.
Yeah, with the...
Totally didn't feel like it's a second part of a two-parter because it's almost completely disconnected from everything that happened in the previous episode, except the cliffhanger.
Yeah. But this has been true for a lot of the two-parters, I feel. Like, the second part often feels... maybe not a lot. I'm thinking of, like, Nerve and the Hidden Memory. Even though they, like, share a location, they feel very different.
Yeah. But then again, look at The Princess, not so much. That's more of a continuous story arc. I mean, there's a different feel to it, but it's definitely one big story arc.
Yeah. There's some wild things, does Farscape, and especially as we're now heading into season 4. Now, I've given you conflicting reports about whether they knew that they were going to get renewed for a fourth season.
There was a little bit of debate about this, I heard.
So I got confused about the timing, and at the time of writing, it wasn't sure that there would be a fourth season. At the time of, shortly after filming, there was a confirmation. So that's where I kind of got confused. It was still sort of up in the air, but the ratings were great. Gosh, I've tried to find some promos of season 4 that would not spoil too much because it was kind of a wild sort of season to get into in terms of, like, what should we expect from this?
Mm-hmm. Well, it shouldn't be fair that, like, even if they decided, they being the studio decided to put out this promo, that's clearly something that they wanted people to see or know, at least make them excited about what might be happening in the future. And I think this was before the age that basically the trailer basically reveals you the entire movie, including the twist, as seems to be so often the case currently. Like, oh no, we have to spell out everything that happens in the movie, and...
Yeah, wouldn't that be nice? Actually, there's a third option, though. And there's a third option, which is where the trailers are cut together by marketing people that have not watched an episode of the show.
Yeah, fair point.
So it was still airing on the Sci-Fi Channel. That was its main audience. It never really found purchase in Australia the way that it did in the United States and the UK. And Sci-Fi Channel had recently purchased Stargate SG-1.
Oh.
And they were going to make this super block of science fiction to sort of own all the nerds. Farscape and Stargate are pretty different shows.
Yes.
Right? Much more serialized versus much more episodic, much more romantic versus militaristic. So sort of a contrast between Star Trek The Next Generation and Stargate SG-1, where you see the bridge of the Enterprise and Picard goes, oh no, the Prime Directive forbids us from interfering with less developed species. And then you see the SG-1 team going up to some natives saying, all your gods are false, here, take these guns.
And shoot them, yeah.
But so, like, I remember there was promos saying, one man has to save the universe, and sort of implying that he bangs every alien babe that he bumps into.
Okay. And he has to save... He's never thought about saving the universe.
He doesn't care about the universe. No. He cares about his own grade A prime USDA.
I was going to say his own bacon that we were going to... We got a few nice views of this time, right?
Yeah, we sure did.
These leather pants really stood up to the test of time. Unlike everything else.
Yeah.
Okay, so let's see what our listeners have to say about this episode.
A new DRD function is revealed. They can sing. A gravity-defying know-it-all introduces herself as a Leviathan expert, and we discover how long it takes to fall down and reach the bottom of the pilot's den. Thanks, Going Metal 799.
His name is John Crichton, and his friends just got sucked down a wormhole. Now he's stuck on a living ship full of strange Yoda impersonating spice vikings. Along with help of Sputnik and the 1812 overture, John must save his home. Thank you, Marky See.
Oh, no. Marky See, doesn't he usually... Oh, no. Sorry, I was confusing Marky See with Rick from the Delta Quadrant, who always does limericks. And
who is the next one? So...
I do kind of want to sing this as his name is John Crichton and his friends just got sucked down a worm. No, that's not going to work. Anyway, interrupted by a toubray thief, friends united, what a relief. A dying boat, a human goat, grade A prime American beef. Oh, yes, that's great. Thank you, Rick from the Delta Quadrant.
And Crichton goes full castaway and meets an odd-looking Cabbage Patch Kid who can walk on ceilings. He is forced to face off with weird Klingon knockoffs, all while trying to plot a way back to his normal life. Thank you, Melissa.
A pilot nods off to her favourite soaps. An astronaut programs a friend to play the Tchaikovsky 1812 overture while doodling. A new know-it-all gets in on the chaos. Can she answer the 5 W's? Can she learn the ABCs or the ACBs? Actually, no, it's a little editorial for me. Let's give the dog a hand. Don't worry, it can be reattached. Look, I can do the Exorcist backwards crawl up the wall. Our favourite diminutive ruler has no qualms sicking the dogs on an astronaut. Our favourite Snurcher's vision has improved, but doing it too often makes her blind. Could the sun have a baby, or is it all in the astronaut's head? Thanks, Brian. I know. Now watch that character limit, because this is going over one tweet.
It seems to go, yes. Stranded astronaut with a better beard this time. Sputnik, Klingons, and Bad Doggo, oh my. An adventure is finally played and the ABCs are sung. The greatest droid since R2-D2 appears. Junk, more junk, and no muerta pilot. Leviathan sushi, anybody? Is it still going?
Yeah, it's still going.
Sputnik finds out the hard way life experience beats book learning. Veins are too big to shift center of gravity, so our favorite human plays Goat from Jurassic Park. Sparky gets updated skin, and Pip can slow time now, I guess. On a side note, this is my favorite Wakey Cracky John episode. Thank you, DB.
Yeah, thank you. Oh, I know I'm being cranky about the length of some of these, but I do love that everybody... We're going to be here a while, by the way. There's more. I do love that everybody came out in droves, and we hope that you continue to. So go to sofarscape.com/links, but try and keep it to a single tweet, because then I can put a GIF on it. Okay. Sputnik crashes into John's Leviathan, and old friends return as John must deal with pirates. Meanwhile, Harvey wears his cool button down from season 2. Yeah.
I saw that, yes.
Very good. As Crichton tries to figure out who's the daddy. Thank you, Billy Roberts.
Pardon me. Hello. Yes, I'm talking to you. Now, I know you're new here on this old Leviathan. I've been here a while now, and if you want to be good neighbours, please stop shooting at me. Oh, what's that? That's no one shooting? Well, can you at least keep your hound off my toubray garden? What's this toubray stuff? I just planted them, and she keeps digging them up. If you can do that, we might get along nicely. If not, let's not say how bad it will get for you here. And thank you, Black Rain, for that one.
Originally aired on Friday, June 7th, 2002. I keep forgetting that I sort of put the sort of dates of
information
all of them
in this,
there.
yes.
Yeah, I wonder what other cool information. Oh, directed by Andrew Prowse, written by David Kemper. Gosh, what else has David Kemper written? Let me see. Through the Looking Glass. I really set up this database very well. I don't know why I keep forgetting to do that. Maybe because it's boring.
Prepare to starboard.
We open with a bit of a fake out.
Yeah. The montage shows us the important things that happened in season 3, culminating in John hearing the voice of the old woman saying that Aaron is with child as Moya gets sucked away, and he's just left there with no fuel.
Floating about.
You have got to be kidding me.
Fade to sometime later.
Yes, John floating about. But now he has quite the beard.
A real beard this time.
And that's what I mean by fake out. I'm just like, okay, hang on. He was very low on fuel, so how can he have grown a beard in such a period of time? So something else is going on.
Yeah.
And turns out, yes.
And changed his outfit. He's got an awful poncho now.
Oh, yes.
Or a sort of Jedi robe.
Excuse me, Master Jedi.
Well, over his, I guess his shirt went bad, and he put that on top of his leather pants or something.
And we see his module flying around a Leviathan, but it's quite a different looking Leviathan.
Yes.
We hear the name Elak mentioned over the course of the episode. He's an elderly Leviathan, bonded 350 cycles ago. You can see his ribs.
So few Leviathans are able to end their physical existence in this sacred space. Elak and I promised each other this when we were joined over 350 cycles ago.
He's a skinny little guy. Well, I'm not sure if he's small, but...
Yeah, I mean, we don't know what natural-born Leviathans look like, except for the 2 or 3 that we've seen. But, this one, he looks a bit emaciated.
Yes, on board, I mean, everything looks a bit wrong. The ribs of the corridors look encrusted with almost calcium-like deposits or something like that. And the pilot is also not very in a very good state. She is covered in lesions on her face. Yes.
I sort of get the impression that she's sort of stuck mid-molt.
Yeah.
Right?
I see what you mean.
Or at least she seems to have some extra ridges on her carapace that Pilot doesn't have. But what we're looking at here, is actually something cool. A new puppet, a new animatronic was being built for Pilot at this point.
Yeah.
So we're still looking at the one that's served since 1999. But so new animatronic was being built, new skin, and so this is some of the foam interior that's being used as the exterior for this. This other
So this is
pilot.
basically the old pilot who has been redressed to be a different pilot now.
Exactly. Which, the old pilot animatronic and skin have played two other pilots.
Yeah.
One in Eat Me and one in The Way We Weren't. But yeah, at this point, the creature team was busy working away in the creature shop, welding and sizzling and gluing together the fantastic new creation. And yeah, we talked to this. Well, pilots don't have names, or at least we don't get them. And she's elderly, and she mentions that since they were bonded, it was her and Elak's dream that they would come to the sacred space to die together.
And they answered John's distress call and let him on board, and they're kind of like drifting around there now, waiting for the end to come.
Yeah.
And in the meantime, John is bored. He's been like cracking the wormhole code. He's written on every surface that he can find, pretty much.
Which he's apparently now figured out wormholes, and he just needs to find the wormhole network.
Right, and he's writing wormholes for dummies.
Yeah. But finding the wormhole network is not so easy because there's no store of fuel for him to get out of the sacred space.
I mean, the pilot says that, like, there's some stored on that and that level, and he goes like, now my model needs it refined, can't use it can't use it raw like that, and apparently that is no longer an option.
And we see him walking through the hallways, these grey, foggy hallways in his Jedi robes with a red, white, and blue... blue, white, and red painted DRD.
Yes.
Whom he's taught to sing.
First I was like, why did he paint the French flag on that? But, then I realized...
Yes!
Well, it's the Overture 1812, but...
Yes!
Tchaikovsky wasn't French, was he?
No, but 1812 is the...
Right, okay.
Vive la Révolution.
I must say that he must be an amazing musician, that he can, teach a DRD to play that entire overture, including all the drum parts and the horn parts, when he probably hasn't even heard all of it in one sitting,
Yeah, that's a good point. Huh.
Because I don't think he has a sheet music lying around anywhere.
Yeah.
So he would have to be able to repeat and whistle or hum every part of that entire overture to be able to teach it to a DRD.
And it's not really easily deconstructed like Peter and the Wolf, where you get introduced to all the components. But Kate,
no, I know. I mean,
did you recognize it?
What? The DRD?
No, the 1812 overture that has been our
Yes,
theme
of course.
music for the.
No,
okay,
yeah, totally. No,
good. So,
yes. No, that was my first, so this is the episode. Because I remember I asked you about why you chose that and where the music came from. You said,
90 years ago by now.
And you told me that at one point in the future, John programs a DRD to play it. And
Wait, did I?
Yes, you did.
Whoa. Why did I forget that? Oh, no way. Oh, that's awful. Oh,
no, that's great.
My former self was so forgetful. In fact, very recently as well. I think during the end of season 3, I mentioned that Leviathan sort of grow to adapt to their passengers, which didn't get mentioned until today. I'm going to have to start giving myself demerits.
Every Leviathan grows to accommodate its passengers, its pilot's whim, Oh my goodness.
But yes, I was very happy to finally get to share that with you because it's given me so much joy thinking about little 1812, the heroic.
Yes, he paints it
bleu, blanc, rouge.
Yeah, and he has 1812 written on the side as well.
Yes,
it's one of the rare armed DRDs.
Yeah, Moya had a lot more of them, but apparently, remember in A Bug's Life when the commandos come on board?
I can handle big.
And John and Aaron are pretending to be peacekeepers.
Mm-hmm.
They have a bunch of armed DRDs at that point.
Oh, yes. Well, maybe what was the name of this Leviathan again? Elak. So maybe Elak hadn't had any use for those, or maybe they just died off. I don't know.
Yeah.
Can DRDs be transferred between Leviathans?
Mm-hmm. I'm trying to think if John brought a Moya DRD onto Talon. No, I don't remember. I don't think so. No.
So we get a little bit of the life of John, which apparently has been going on like this for a while now.
Yeah, doing some wishful drinking.
Yes, the pilot has went like, well, they want to die here, so they're not bringing him back to the planet. And he's just like hoping that someone else is going to show up, or maybe the other people are going to show up again. But no, I mean, something does show up, but it is a little transport pod, which is named Sputnik by our listeners.
Oh, sorry. Sputnik is his nickname for Sikozu, who comes out of it because her head sort of looks like...
Oh, okay, sorry. I thought it was a reference to the little pod, because it kind of...
No, I think that's valid, because I love that it sort of comes rocketing through the docking bay, and he just sort of stands there, still sipping his cup of wine.
I mean, I would.
Like, just letting it happen while the 1812 overture crescendos. He calmly waits for someone to walk out and then draws a gun on her.
Yes. And credits.
So who we have here is Kozu Shanu.
Sikozu Shanu.
And she's got her hair in these weird, they're really cool sort of lumps in all directions.
Yeah.
These little sort of twisty cakes, which must be a tremendous amount of work, but
no,
and also not fit very well into a helmet.
No, but people don't wear helmets, and if they do, then you can just like grab one from the soccer field or from the football field.
It worked for John.
Yeah, John is very casually waving his gun around.
Yeah.
She says like, "Oh, you have to go. They're after me, and they will kill you."
If you are sober or sane enough to understand, I suggest you aim that behind you. Creatures following me execute on sight.
And I think this is a really cool scene when we figure out, because the next thing she said is like, transporter microbes don't work on me.
Yeah.
Or my brain can't handle transporter microbes or anything.
Transporter microbes would be something else. No, hold on.
Yeah, those would be great.
Would it?
Well,
would it?
Ooh. Depends on how it turns out that they work. But yes, so she has to learn languages.
By hearing them.
But he can like understand her perfectly. So it's very interesting, like if you go in your mind through what this means for the conversation that they're having. That she is literally just kind of talking to him, saying things that she understands what he understands what she's saying.
Yep.
And she can only assume that whatever he says makes sense in response, which it doesn't really, because he's just going all over the place.
Like, it's bad enough that he speaks English.
Yes.
Where, like, I love that she asked for...
Your alphabet in order.
How's that going to help you with English?
Did you know that there's no particular reason why the alphabet is in this order?
A, B, C, D, E, F, G.
I mean, I didn't know that, but
it doesn't have to be in that order.
There's no need for it to be in that. Well, with one exception, hold on, because our capital A is derived from hieroglyph.
Yeah.
H-I-J-K-L-M-N-O-P.
Which was sort of a pyramid, because the Egyptians...
Eye of Ra, wasn't it?
Yeah, I don't know if it was Ra or a different sun god, honestly. But it symbolized because they did this thing where when you write a hieroglyph and you draw a line underneath it, then you mean the sound, not the word.
Yeah.
Q-R-S-T-U-V.
And then you can make a rebus, which can be understood by anyone. And thousands of years later, we're still drawing pyramids for our R sounds.
Right, but... doesn't have to be the first letter.
No, that's true.
W, X, Y, and Z. Now I've sung my ABCs. Yeah. Hello.
It doesn't help at all. It also doesn't help that besides speaking English, he speaks Crichton, which is nonsensical.
Very,
so it's
very colloquial, lots of...
dropping in some Spanish just to make that easy.
Yes, that'll help.
Dying ship, remember? No starburst. Muerta. Dead. Toast.
And I sort of imagine that they honestly just didn't try very hard to make it plausible for Sikozu to sort of figure out what he's saying. Just assume that she's brilliant.
Yes.
Which you'd have to be in order to learn a language
that fast. Yes.
Yeah.
And she starts to start making sentences, and he kind of does, but it doesn't really help.
Yep.
But I mean, she picks it up.
She asks for verbs and nouns, which is good guess that that's how English works. Not all languages do that. Like, I think in Navajo, I think it's mostly verbs that do the heavy lifting.
Okay.
Once upon a time, I was happy here. Little on the lonely side, but that's okay, because at least Winona only had to start cooking fires. Fire, whoosh, fire. Module's out of fuel, so it's not going anywhere. So I'm working like a mofo. And everything is finally coming together on these crates here. Till you smash through, pissing me off just A little bit.
I really loved this, though. Even though it wasn't very hard sci-fi and worked out.
No, it was a really cool idea.
And it's a really good way to sort of reintroduce the world that we're in. Because that was one of the things that sci-fi really wanted to achieve at this point, to broaden the audience and the appeal for Farscape. Because it's gotten very serialized at this point, right?
Yes.
And not particularly welcoming to new audiences, they felt. Which I think, honestly, is valid.
Yeah, you need a lot of backstory to be able to jump into this at this point.
Yeah.
And they do a good job of pointing out that the important things that happened leading up to this point.
He gets a great monologue as little Sputnik is trying to understand what he's saying. Explains where he's at, why he's on this dying Leviathan, and then she explains this Leviathan is about to be invaded by, let's say, poachers. I think is
yes.
They're called
Grudex. God, I love them.
Grudex.
Who the hell are they?
They harvest toubray tissue.
Toubray hunters.
Right. Yes, they're here to get the gravat locks.
Okay, yes. Which are Leviathan nerve fibers, which apparently are a sort of...
Delicatessen?
Yeah, people apparently consume them to improve their higher brain function.
Oh, yes.
So it's like an aphrodisiac for nerds.
Okay, well, fair enough. Maybe, I wonder if she's been snacking on those.
Maybe she's like Obelix and she fell into a vat of that stuff as a child. But yeah, Elac is penetrated by this Grudex ship that immediately sends out gas canisters to fumigate the ship. So they have to climb into John's
the
little module.
And, escape the gas.
Cozy up quite close to get back to the Farscape tradition of proximity alerts. Just this time with a random alien. Which causes, I think, John to flash back, or no...
Withdraw into his mind space, yes.
Yeah. Where he's on Bondi Beach, which looks absolutely lovely.
Yes. Talking with Scorpy, who is running around in a lovely straw hat and, yes, indeed, his Hawaii shirt.
Yeah, that look
and
is so good.
Awkward waddle that Wayne Pygram does there, just kind of like how he's like waddling around in his tights.
Yes.
Which he normally doesn't do at all, so it's not a function of the suit, so it's a deliberate affected run walk that he's doing there.
Yeah, it's his Harvey walk, which is this... I don't know how to describe it. I guess it's like a butler trying to run on the beach in high heels.
Okay, yeah, I can see that.
Oh, do you see how skinny he is?
Yes.
Right?
Yes.
So I think he was ill when Pygram had he'd lost a staggering amount of weight, which was a bit of a problem for this suit. Because the Scorpius makeup depends for a huge part on the fit of the helmet. Like those parts they're glued around the eyes and the lips, but not to the rest of the face.
Yes, okay. So if he goes skinny, then there's gaps in the
Yeah, and it can flab, so it had to be retailored. And also, like while they were at it, can you make it a little bit more comfortable around the ears? Because he's a drummer, so he suffers from tinnitus. Yeah, quite a bit, which was not helped by hearing his own voice echoing through his skull all day long.
Yeah, I can imagine that. Oh.
And we see Erin.
Yes. So how did she end up in John's mind space?
I think she's just a fantasy that he likes to visit.
Oh, yes.
Right?
But still, I didn't know he could do that.
Well, I mean, if I close my eyes and I go to imaginary Bondi Beach, I can have sort of anyone lying there.
Oh, okay. So I always imagined his little jaunts with Scorpius or Harvey to be more of an actual, mental holodeck type thing, like much more an actual depiction of how he experienced it rather than just how he thinks of it in his.
That's interesting.
In his mind's eye.
That may be how it usually is. So then this may be just its principal function. Bondi Beach may just be a daydream that he wants, but then Harvey invades it.
Right.
Because he's going there to talk to Erin again. Erin, who has a lovely baby bump.
I assume that was also the Creatures Workshop who did that.
I don't know exactly on whose responsibility that... now I think of it, I don't actually know that isn't real.
I mean, was she pregnant around that time?
I don't know that. I actually don't know if Claudia Black has children.
I think she does, yes. But
this is something that someone... she definitely does have children, yes.
I'm fairly certain I've seen that on her Twitter.
Yes. I don't know if she was indeed pregnant. Oh, Oh,
I don't think so, because
another
like,
demerit for me. This is
because
a bad episode.
Because
for
there's
unpacking.
another shot right at the end when she's suddenly not pregnant anymore, and
Oh, yes.
and those would be hard to shoot in close succession either which way.
Yes. Okay, so definitely a makeup effect here. Oh, she looks great in her bikini and sunglasses. She looks so comfortable in the sun. And Crichton's just out here taunting himself by asking her questions that she can't answer.
No, because like she's his figment, I suppose.
Yeah.
He does go back there later as well, and then he's very different. He acts much more, happy to her, and then that's where the episode gets its name from, Crichton Kicks.
There it is. That's a Crichton kick.
Oh, yeah.
A little bit. And I love the snub, how she snubs him. It's like, yes, girls usually kick harder.
Only because he said boy. And she's got to, yank his leash back a little bit. And, then he contemplates, we don't know who the father is.
Maybe it's not mine at all.
You just won't let that rest, will you?
She could have tenkas or, ponytail and a little goatee.
Who's that?
Grace.
Oh, of course, yes. Duh.
Yeah, or maybe half a face mask, or...
He's kind of like accusing her of slutting around a bit, isn't he?
Yeah, but it's all in good fun, because even when he says, like...
Maybe it's a royal pain in the ass, eats all the time and farts a lot.
Oh, then we definitely know it's yours.
It's an interesting sort of tonal shift between that sort of lightheartedness and this, this pretty brutal invasion of a dying Leviathan.
Yes, by Klingon Vikings.
Yeah, I kind of like these guys. I didn't remember them very well.
They're weird, but...
The Grudex.
Grudex my ass.
They've got this, weird little metal tooth growing out of their forehead, or is that just a commander?
I think I saw it on more of them. It's like some sort of body mod.
Oh.
Like they make cuts in their forehead, and they sort of wedge something under the skin there to hold it in place.
That makes sense.
Or maybe there's a skin fold there that they're just using for whatever purpose. Yeah, they're all these long-haired, gruff. They're yelling about their prize. Their weird speech patterns. They have a sort of Slavic, Southern European accent.
Enterprising you are. Expecting you I have been.
A strange object-subject-verb sentence structure some of the times. It's unusual. But yes, they're here to harvest the tissues from poor Elak, as we discover. And Sikozu advises stealth.
Make them think you're dead.
Okay, Sputnik.
So John instead decides on a show of force.
Because, of course.
By sitting on the edge of Pilot's den and yelling at them.
Oi, pay attention to me.
In Klingon.
No! Bavol! Verrucht! Didn't get that one, did you? Because it's Klingon.
As well?
Yes, because,
Supposedly the words that he says are not Klingon.
No.
He
actually calls it. You didn't understand that because that's Klingon. He literally says it's Klingon. Yeah.
Yes, but it's not.
Sounds Klingon.
It does sound a bit Klingon, but I dove into the research, and what's written down was Poch nach Dosh Herucht, which, first of all, he doesn't pronounce the H's correctly. They're supposed to be a rather than a...
Right.
And also, those words don't exist in Klingon.
Yes. There's a little bit of a shooting back and forth, because apparently these gravid lax meats are supposed to be harvested from the pilot's chamber. We've got all these weird cells that we've all been seeing there. Or they've usually been bulges, and we've now revealed that those are membranes, which there's a chamber behind.
Yeah. It's this sort of honeycomb. They built this great set with 2 levels of cells that they're excavating. But I thought this interaction was really interesting because it starts off with the Grudex just not being interested in him and just yelling, "Mind your own business, and we'll be fine."
We're just here to get what we want.
Time for you guys to clear out!
There is no quarrel with you! Remain clear and you may live!
Oh, no. No, not if you destroy my ship.
Okay, then alternatively...
Flee then!
Yes, they actually offer him passage off. Well, not passage off, but
Yeah, it's like safe passage, which unsure whether they're serious about that.
I get the feeling they are.
At this point, yeah.
Yeah.
But yes, lots of shooting. It doesn't really go very well for Crichton.
No, there's a gorgeous little dramatic run flail as he crosses the bridge of pilot's chamber.
Yeah.
A bit of a girly run he's got going
Blaster
there.
bolts. Oh, he must have learned that from Harvey.
Yeah.
Because here, too, he looks like a butler in high heels trying to run down a beach.
Fair.
It sets up an interesting dynamic between him and Sikozu, which is mistrust. He does not trust her to have his back because she does appear to sell him out as soon as she has the opportunity.
And then again later.
Which may or may not have been the case because she may have been actually trying to... she may have been considerate of his needs as well.
Yes, they release the hounds.
Release the Brinder's hound!
A cool six-legged CGI being
Which
turns
is,
out.
not very good at hounding. I mean, it runs around mostly. It overshoots the target more often than not.
That's got some zoomies.
It does, seriously. Also because it apparently can shift its center of gravity, which means that you are no longer subject to gravity or something.
That's her.
But
Sikozu.
the creature does it as well. Well, not...
I didn't...
Actually, no, they're just like bouncing off the walls like a snow leopard.
Yes. That's exactly how they move.
Or a sable, for that matter. I've seen them do that as well.
Just bouncing all over the place.
Just going wall walking around Moya's chambers, which are very suitable for that because they're curved and all that.
Yeah, wonderful shapes. Sikozu shows the limits of her knowledge, where she describes that Brin's hounds are blood trackers, and then how big? And she sort of holds her hands about, let's say, an otter's worth apart.
Yeah.
Which turns out not to be the case. It's significantly larger.
Right, yes.
It's not quite a Kidva.
No, but it is sizable.
Yeah.
He asks her to explain who and what she is, and she is apparently, a Leviathan specialist who's never been on a Leviathan. She is on assignment from something or the other.
Yes, that's not specified.
No, but apparently they have hired her to do her job, and she has done her job too well, and that kind of went a little bit too fast for me to follow completely.
Yeah, I understand. I have the benefit of hindsight, of course. So she was hired to find the sacred space, because that would be a good place to find old Leviathans, which she justified with the idea, an old Leviathan being killed or being poached is better than a healthy
I thought she was hired to find Leviathan tracking routes or something like that, and she overshot her mark by finding the sacred space.
Oh, is that it?
That's what I gleaned.
Oh, that's well possible. Yeah, because once the Grudeks know about this sacred space where Leviathans come to die...
Yeah, she's no longer needed.
Yes.
Because, we can just sit here and wait for Leviathans to show up.
Yes, and killing her means that they don't have to pay her contract.
Yes.
So that's presumably why she stole that craft, to escape from them. Unfortunately...
Not sure what she was going to do, escaping towards a Leviathan that she knew that the others were going to be invading. Seems like poor planning on her side.
Given that it's Farscape, I'm assuming that she sort of pulled the Crichton maneuver. Oh, there's a gun to my head. I'll just jump into the nearest pit, or whatever.
Meh.
Right? No real plan for what to do at the bottom. Maybe I'll learn how to fly.
Yeah.
Oh, which does come up.
It does, right, yes.
Stick with me, you'll be whole. Okay.
Shift to gravity center, hurry!
Do what?
Oh, but yes. They're hiding out in the center chamber when the Grudek's attention is caught by the fact that John's comm goes off.
Ambush time. Stay quiet.
Crichton? I know you're here. Why don't I stare at your Petlop module in this wreck of a maintenance bay?
Yes.
And
we hear Shana, yes.
Yeah. And
it's like,
Rigel yelling in the background.
And it's like, and he's like, why now? It's like...
And we see them reunited. Like, no big deal. No shot of them landing in the docking bay.
No, I noticed that there was something that they did several times during this episode where there is Farscape has been known to do this anyway. It's like there's a tense action scene, there's something happens, then it's presumably cut to commercial.
Yeah.
Come back, situation's been resolved.
Yep.
We never see the resolve where how the shootout died, how the hand was like recovered or lost, and the hand gets ripped. It's like 2 or 3 times in this episode they pull that when they get.
I don't love it. I didn't notice it. I've got to say, I didn't notice it that much happening this time around. But looking at the Jeeves, I guess because it's such a frenetic pace.
Right. Yes. And it's not really. I mean, it's not really important how these things are resolved. It's just that they are. It's like, okay, they escaped. It was a shootout. Apparently, we escaped. You can either spell that out or go like, okay. Well,
which I guess is a lot more enjoyable when there's actual commercial breaks, which are, of course, horrible, but when you do sort of get that reset, much like our greatest hiatuses.
Yeah. I mean, it's like when he gets bit by the dog, and then it's like cut, and now he's being treated by Sikozu.
Oh, yes.
Yeah.
Who goes, like, oh, wow, that's huge.
Yes.
This is big.
Obviously, you need to get out more.
He says, "Oh, you should get out more."
But yeah, so that's we don't see how he escapes the dog, who has at that point clearly latched onto his leg, and he doesn't kill the dog because it comes back later.
Yes, good point.
But yeah, okay, we're just gonna not going to continue that story arc, and we're just like,
so we can have a sort
resolved.
of sexy bit where Sikozu talks about how big his vein is.
Yes, and it should be smaller because then otherwise he'll never be able to shift his center of gravity.
By the time that you can see someone's vein inside a wound, the main vein that provides blood to the leg, which is that the femoral vein? No, that's an artery, isn't it?
Femoral artery, yeah.
Wait, veins return to the heart, don't they?
Yes.
But it's the largest vein I've ever seen.
Yeah, it supplies blood to my leg.
So a vein doesn't supply blood to the leg.
It takes blood from the leg, yes.
Yeah. Which is still not something you want to lose, obviously. But okay, well, anyway. So it doesn't seem to bother him for the rest of the episode.
Not really, no.
And it's time for a reunion and a shave.
And everybody is looking worse for the wear.
Yeah.
So, and this is like another little thing that I didn't quite get. So, these guys were on board Moya when Moya went through the wormhole, weren't they?
They were not.
They were not. Oh, okay. I must have.
I know, because the sort of departures were never shown during.
No. So why weren't they
Dog
aboard?
with two bones.
Why weren't they aboard Moya? What were they doing?
So we knew that Rigel was going off to his home world, because he got the intelligence about his cousin Bishan's reign not going very well, and Shiana talked about wanting to find her brother and the Navarre resistance. We didn't see them leave. Don't know if they left separately or together, or whether they bumped into each other on a distant planet. How every planet only has one bar.
Right. So presumably Dargo is still on Moya then?
We saw, let me see, we saw Jewel and the old woman in Pilot's Chamber. Those are the people that we knew were on Moya.
For a fact on Moya, yeah.
And we don't know of Erin. Well, presumably she left. No, we
know she'd left in her in her prowler.
We don't know about Dargo, but he was already loading the growler at the start of the episode.
Right, so he might be gone in the growler
to go and find Macton.
Yeah.
We don't know. This is in fact the very first episode with no scenes on Moya or Talon.
Oh, yeah.
I mean, it's still, of course, the Moya sets.
It's a different Leviathan.
Also, the first episode without any involvement of Lani Tupu. Neither as Pilot nor as Grace, bless his memory.
Yes.
Yeah. Making Ben Browder the only core actor who's been in every episode so far.
Okay. So, yes, Chana is not liking Sikozu. They're having a bit of a cat fight.
If Sikozu led these sludge knots aboard, then why are we keeping her alive?
And she doesn't like Crichton either.
What's the matter with me, Crichton? You. Always you.
She's upset with him. And various... I mean, it's the Farscape tradition that reunions are not happy.
No. I mean, it's not like John's done anything to upset her.
Yeah, she hauls out another wanted beacon.
Yes, apparently she's worth 5 million credit units or whatever, the promissory notes, whatever they call them.
Currency pledges.
Yeah.
Currency pledges.
Which I think is essentially promissory notes.
Essentially, yes. And Rigel can't resist getting a dig in, saying I'm worth 7 and she can't stand that. Rigel is looking worse for the wear.
Yeah.
He is not looking good.
He's got a black eye, in his case red.
Yeah, his beard is grown out, it seems. He's got much more chin fuzz.
Yeah, he's got a literal neck beard.
Yeah.
Which may be a style choice that he's experimenting with, but yeah.
And Chiana sporting a bit of a shiner as well.
Yeah, and her wigs all over the place. Like they're all worse for the wear. As we later find out, it's due to her sort of vision ability that
had been developing, and she's used it to scam a casino. Well, it's not really scamming, is it?
Well,
I mean, the casino certainly solved it that way, but
you're supposed to, when you win a game that is not possible to strategize, that is purely guessing, because they talk about, a drop of mercury held in a positron field that can go in 1,000 different directions. Yeah, you're not supposed to be able to. It's like, if you bet on the number that roulette wheel lands on and you get it right 7 times in a row.
Yes.
Statistically possible, but so very, very unlikely that I think a casino would generally exercise its option to invite you no longer to enjoy the casinos.
Right. These casinos seem to have a little bit more leeway because she is pulled aside. They take away her winnings and she's mistreated.
Yeah, which is mentioned just a little bit casually.
She does that, but in a very Chiana way.
Content warning for anybody watching that scene. I found it quite upsetting how easily that was mentioned.
Yeah.
And glossed over. But between that and the Wanted Beacon, they have literally nowhere else to go because those beacons are everywhere. And that's, I guess, the source of her antagonism for John. Even though at the end of season 4 they thought that nobody was hunting them and they were totally scot-free, apparently that is not the case.
No, apparently the peacekeepers are still putting out beacons. Okay, so at this point, they have a transport pod.
Yeah.
Why don't they all pile in and GTFO?
Well, our pod's not going anywhere. We were lucky to get this far.
One of the next scenes is that they find Sikozu in cahoots with one of the Grudeks.
Yes.
Where she says, after Chiana shoots him...
Look at what she did! What she did!
That she was negotiating for him to leave behind a craft for them to use.
Right, which they don't have.
Yeah.
Because they got dropped off by the mothership, and the mothership is going to come back later after they're done with the harvest.
Yeah. Oh, wait, no, they do have a landing craft. They did have a breaching craft that actually, penetrated the hull.
I thought that was the mothership.
Oh, and then it withdrew.
Yeah.
Huh. Okay, so a few things are a little bit unclear to me as well.
Don't confuse us.
We find John in the pilot's chamber, and Pilot says, well...
We are old. We must accept our time is soon anyway. Perhaps, in passing, we can serve some purpose for others.
This is a very generous way to interpret some poachers actually harvesting brain cells, which John sort of admires, but he also asks...
You don't mind if we fight for you, do you?
Yeah.
I think at this point, he feels he owes Elak a favor for picking him up and rescuing him.
Yes.
And the dozing pilot. And maybe he's also got a bit of dander up for the weeks, months. How long does it take to grow a beard if you... Yeah, I don't know. Mine does not do that anywhere near that speed.
I can't grow a beard like that either, so I have no idea.
Yeah, but
a couple of months at least. I mean,
roughly a television season's hiatus worth, which is...
That sounds about right.
Yeah.
I mean, our friend Bruce, he could probably grow a beard like that in a month, but, that's one of those people...
He grows a beard like that when he coughs.
yeah, that's his 5 o'clock shadow.
Yeah. No, I think Ben Browder, stopped shaving after they wrapped season 3. And I hope that he shaved before doing this shaving scene because he's just got some mud on his face and a straight razor, which I think with a beard like that, you want to start with some little scissors and then head down to the clippers.
Yes, I think a bettonite clay would work well, actually.
Okay, and now they have a mission.
Hang on. First, one more thing about that scene where Chiana and Sikozu fight.
Oh, yeah.
Because, Chiana catches her in cahoots with one of these space Vikings, and... There's a little exchange which I thought was interesting when she accuses her and oh, look, she was trying to sell us out. Look what she's got.
Krindar's Scaran currency.
Yeah.
And then Sikozu explains, well, if you guys are all from around Peacekeeper space, I'll bet you have Peacekeeper money.
In your pockets?
Yeah.
What do you have in your...
That doesn't make that you're Peacekeeper affiliated.
Yeah, very good. She says she's not a Scaran.
I'm Kalish. We hate the Scaran, but I did grow up in their territory, yes.
And so, that's the money that they have there.
So definitely not uncharted territories, guess.
Yeah, we don't know, right? We don't know. Uncharted territory isn't Peacekeeper territory.
No.
And presumably it isn't
Scaran territory either, yeah. I mean, that's what basically the plot of Look at the Princess is.
Yes, that's right.
It's like unaffiliated planets which are being hassled about by both sides.
Curious name then, like, then it's non-aligned.
Yeah. So the Hound.
So what are we talking? Tracking dog?
Blood hunter.
How big? What?
More plans ensure to get the creature which cause Sikozu's hand to get ripped off by the high-speed hound in a hurried pass.
Yeah, that was dramatic, wasn't it?
Yes. Fortunately, it turns out not to be such a big issue because she can just stick them back together.
Yeah, her tissue can somehow reattach. That's nice.
Yeah, useful.
That's a nice ability. Which she eventually does after... Rigel goes and finds her hand, which she's sort of waving around as a prop. He's having a conversation with
John,
with John about his obsessions. Like, shall I continue counting on her hand?
She's like, I've run out of fingers, but I can't keep going on her hand. Yeah.
So the plan is to lure the Hound into this chamber that has an opening into space, which is being held shut by a sort of mass membrane.
Yes, some sort of electromagnetic field generated by the Leviathan, which keeps the air in.
Yeah, just a little bubble membrane that will pop as soon as it's punctured.
Yep, the DRD is invited to do a little bit of a graffiti piece on it to make it look like a closed door. This is some Wile E. Coyote shit there.
It really is. Oh my god, yes! He learned this from Revenging Angel. Yeah, quite the artist, little 1812.
Yeah, very musical and also very graphically gifted.
And now it's up to our crew to bait the Hound, which Rigel does by wandering around in his throne sled.
There's this fantastic scene where you just see John getting ready for this, and in the background you see Rigel rapidly floating by from one corridor to the next, chased by this Hound, which is...
And then he sort of sits there like the goat in Jurassic Park.
Literally going bah.
Yeah. And then the Hound approaches and he lifts the hem of his tunic and shows off his grade A
prime beef.
USDA prime beef.
Come on. Come on. Yeah. You want some of this? Yeah. Grade A prime American beef. Come on, damn you.
Smacking and rubbing his leather-clad backside. Like there's so many close-ups of it.
They must have gone a little bit nuts there. It doesn't actually work quite so well at first because the creature just does his wall running thing and zoomies around the room and doesn't actually step on the door.
Yeah. And so John stands in front of the door and he tries the other slab of USDA prime meat that he's got, and he's just a really bad college stripper who makes up for a lack of dance moves with just genuine enthusiasm
and having a nice ass.
Yeah, definitely that.
So yes, finally the creature does puncture the bubble, gets sucked out. John manages to haul himself back in. This door apparently does work, although earlier in the episode we've been told that the doors don't work anymore.
I knew you'd notice that. I knew it.
None of the doors work?
Because it's a dying ship.
I think it's because, he yells door.
Door!
And presumably that's the 1812. And 1812 might be there to sort of mechanically shut it for him rather than it automatically does.
Okay, that makes sense, yeah.
Yeah, it's just me trying to be an apologist.
A weird plan gets concocted to deal with the space pirates. Oh, actually, no, first there's a scene where Sikozu again seems to betray them. This is why is it always the girls who are played off as the...
Yeah, it is a bit of the sort of femme fatale kind of...
Yes, femme fatale, backstabbing, insertion person, the thing is, what's the word? Undercover agent.
Infiltrant.
Infiltrant, thank you, that's the word I was looking for.
Saboteurs, in this case. Yeah. I'm trying to think, we don't get a lot of men introduced without sort of prior preamble. Like the introduction of Jothi, of course, was built up to for a long time. Well, Stark not so much. Stark was a cellmate.
Yes.
But they built up a rapport before there was any kind of dependency on one another. Before they were thrust into the fire together. And Crace, well,
yes,
they go back a while. But yeah, this is a bit of a, I don't know. Again, it was intended to appeal to a larger audience.
But yes, she's talking to the captain of the crew, the harvest crew, and they seem to be striking a deal.
Yeah, which
They'll take her with all sins forgiven. We'll take you with you and pay off your contract.
Yep. But then they intercept the Grudex comms where they're talking about, we're definitely not doing that.
Grudex, was the message sent?
Her employers are aware Sikozu's own errors and judgment cost her life.
Welcome to the universe.
And that gets her angry.
Yes, because you will not be smearing my good record.
Yeah.
You will
Killing
give me
fine, but a
4-star review.
Yes. Anything less than 4.8 means war. And so now they're finally a team. And yet they concoct this bizarre plan that we don't get explained to us, but it's actually kind of brilliant.
Okay, it's kind of like the sick note.
What?
The sick note. You know that song? It's an Irish song. It's about why it's like a construction worker writing a note about why he's not coming to work. And it's this long, involved story of him having to haul some bricks down, and he puts them in a barrel. And then when he unties the rope of the barrel at the bottom, he gets yanked up to the top, slams his head down. Back at the bottom, the bricks fall from the barrel, so now he's heavier than the barrel. And he goes hammering down, bangs into the barrel on the way up. Back, he smacks into the ground. Up at the top, the barrel smacks against the pulley. Bottom breaks out. All the bricks came raining down
onto
on him.
His head.
And then he finally lets go of the rope, which sends the barrel down again, which crashes on top of over him. And the final line of the song is, "And I hope you understand why Paddy's not at work today."
I was hoping that it would end with, and then I got a bad case of the runs, and that's why I'm not at work.
No. So yes, that's what they do. So I'll try to say how I understood it. So,
okay, yes, without using your hands. I see you've got your hands ready, but we're podcasting, bud. I know.
Sorry, I'll steer away from the Italian. So John is at the top of the pilot's den chamber, which is huge. This must be a really long rope that they have here.
Sure.
Okay, and there's a pulley there. And he is attached to that rope, and Chiana is at the bottom, and she's also attached to that rope.
Yeah.
Sikozu is at the top with a bucket of bolts.
Yes, correct.
So the plan is John jumps down and hauls Chiana up. While she's going up, she looks at some hoses which need to be shot in exactly the right order to create a limited explosion without making a massive explosion.
Right, and because that's the area where the Grudex are working, and they want to destroy all the Grudex.
And she's going to use her future powers, because they don't know which one is which, and she's using her future sight to be able to determine in which order these need to be shot.
She doesn't know that, though, but she's already explained that her visions are no longer of the future, which I guess is sort of a fair way for writers to sort of back away from precognition, which is a fun sort of trope to explore, but also an absolute noose for the kind of creativity that we want to.
Yes.
So right now it's she's able to sort of slow down time and really, really examine it.
Oh, I thought it was more like time slows down whenever she's doing her thing. But okay, yeah.
Oh, could well be. But it's like it gives her the time to really study this scene, even as she's being shot at.
Yes.
And then she describes what she sees to Sikozu.
Yes.
Who is then able to tell
John in which order to shoot,
yes.
Which is right, left, center, turns out.
Left, right, center. No, right, left, center.
More importantly, when she gets to the top, she needs to be hauled in so they can attach the bucket of bolts and throw that overboard so that John gets hauled up and he can shoot the hoses in the right order.
Yep, because they've got a bucket of bolts that's heavier than John.
John, yes. This doesn't go quite right. First of all, Chiana yanks off Sikozu's hand by accident when she's trying to grapple for it, because she can't see right now. It's like she goes blind after her vision for a little bit.
So she rips off Sikozu's recently healed
it's kind of Sikozu's own fault for using that hand. I mean, clearly Chiana wouldn't know that this was the wrong hand.
I know.
End result is Sikozu falls off the ledge, clamps onto Chiana. The two of them apparently weigh more than John, and this part of the plan comes into effect.
Yeah. So much for being light enough to like stick to the ceiling. They go tumbling down. John comes barreling up.
It does indeed shoot the hoses.
Yeah, he gets the order wrong a few times as he's saying it.
But finally he's like, no, right, center, left, no, right, left, center.
Right. Left. Center.
It works out great. A fantastic explosion ensues until he barrels into the top, and just like the work person in the sick note, then he comes barreling down again.
Well, no, the rope breaks. The rope has gotten frayed, and it breaks, and he goes flying down all the way down the pilot thing. Rigel tries to catch him on his throne sled and just...
I gotcha.
Misses.
Just misses. Like, he's so heroic. Like, oh, why am I bothering? And sort of floats over the... Oops. Oh, sorry.
Rigel, you're useless, or something like that.
I tried. Rigel, you bastard! I tried.
And fortunately, he misses the catwalk at the bottom.
Goes into the blue dren, which is...
into the bat poop lake. Moya's bat poop lake.
Yes, apparently they all have this.
And like, there's even a sort of a quiet moment where he's skulking around and keeping his nose under the surface.
Yeah, I'm not entirely sure what that was about.
Yeah, there was a Grudek who fell there, and I guess he wants to make sure that he's dead before giving away his...
Right, and he found the guy floating around in there as well, and he goes like, oh, okay, in that case, and he hoists himself out.
Gets a last little dig in, of course. He's always going to have the last word, our Crichton.
Even if you have to say it softly.
And all's well that ends well, apparently.
Yes. Well, I mean, the mothership is still going to come collect them, but this is averted by Elak's pilot deciding that, I will bring you to a nearby planet then.
Yeah.
I hate that you're doing this.
The returning Grudek ship would have destroyed us if we hadn't left the sacred space. And we would like to repay our debt before we pass.
You don't owe us anything.
Nevertheless, if we are able, you shall arrive at the planet where you think your friends may be.
Giving up their lifelong dream.
Well, not necessarily.
Well, she
doesn't know how long she's going to last. That's
exactly.
the thing. It's so she might, and she's risking it. Let's put it like that. She's very generously risking it, and John actually goes, "But it was your dream." And like, well,
no dream is guaranteed, Commander. The grace of age is we learn to accept.
Which is very profound for Crichton to hear. Like, dreams aren't guaranteed.
Yeah.
Something that he has experienced quite a bit over the course of his career in the uncharted territories.
And he immediately puts it to practice when he goes back into his little dreamscape and says goodbye to a now non-pregnant Erin.
Not coming here anymore.
Why not?
Doesn't change anything. It makes me sad.
It's like this surfer dude comes with a pair of slushies and...
is that what they are?
I think so. I mean, that's the only thing. I think it's shaved ice.
Oh, okay, because it's in a paper cone.
Yeah.
And rather a large one, which I always associate with... I mean, that's how French fries are served in the Netherlands.
I think it's shaved ice. But,
lovely on a cool day.
Yes.
So he's even invented a new boy toy for his fantasy Aaron, just to sort of give himself distance and closure and...
And he goes back to restoring his calculations, the magnum opus he was writing on wormholes.
The crates that he'd written that on
were destroyed by Sputnik's little craft. But he figured it out. He can just rewrite it. It's not that big much of an issue, I think, from him at this point.
Did you see which formula he started with?
Isn't that A plus B squared over...
A plus C equals B.
Yeah.
Aaron and Crichton equals baby.
Oh.
But he's regained some of his spirit.
While 1812 plays his jaunty little tune.
They play it together.
Yes.
He whistles to 1812 and as they're working... And this is the second time that we've heard a different set of end credits. I think the last time was in Scratch and Sniff, where it was that sort of lounge jazz.
Oh, yes.
And this time we're treated to the ending of the DRD suite of the 1812 overture, ending with the solo with which the first two seasons of So Farscape
has always started, yes.
She gives me a Woody.
She gives you the willies.
Ooh, this is a tricky one.
Yeah, there's a lot of choices. I mean, we've got some new characters. I really like Sikozu's look. She's got.
Yes,
I mean, it's just makeup.
I wonder if she's going to be a regular. She kind of
Me too.
Had this like glossy, almost snake green like tinge to her skin. She looked a little bit moist.
Yeah, now I got to look at it. It's like Mother of Pearl was airbrushed onto her cheeks with a sort of a diamond grate pattern masking it. Like she's got these scales separated by. It's really fascinating. Piercing eyes, lovely red hair. I kind of like the Grudex as well. A lot more than I remembered. The Brindis Hound was cool.
The Hound was cool. The Grudex I found a little bit, Viking, Klingon Vikings. I found them a bit weird. The brain meat harvesters. It was it was a weird thing.
I know it's a me thing. I kind of liked their vibe. Like they were not particularly stupid. They were not brilliant. These were, it was a working crew. They were, of course, savage murderers.
Yes.
And horrible poachers, which is not okay. Rigel and his unexplained shiner.
Yes, I was wondering about that. Like, they must have been living rough or...
Yeah.
Yeah, and well, Chiana was also not in a very good state. I think, like, my Willy will have to go to... Basically, what Chiana explained happened to her, and how that was like very casually in the way that she says that gets portrayed. That's like they had a little bit of fun, nothing unusual. The way that she said that makes
yes, and this is a criticism of the writing, which right?
Oh, I'm more thinking of it like I find it like very disturbing that that's how Chiana has been, like, with all that she's been through. That's the way that she deals or doesn't deal with these things.
Yeah.
And you can't criticize the writing for that, like, in saying that, like, we shouldn't do that, but...
Well, I mean, for someone to say that, for someone that to say that should be something that you deal with. That would be something for Crichton, who's empathetic.
Oh, no, absolutely.
But, like, everyone just accepts that this is somehow okay, and that is horrible.
Right.
And
well, yes.
To me, inconsistent with.
I mean, it's something that it's difficult. I can see. I agree with your point, but it would not have fitted in the episode to now suddenly have a story arc dealing with that. Maybe it could have probably been easily averted or at least avoided by him saying, like, okay, we're definitely going to talk about that's not cool. We're going to talk about that later.
Well,
something like that. Just throw in a line to make sure that, like, he knows that this is not cool and have to deal with that.
Because for all Farscape's inversion of traditional gender roles and like presenting a lot more equality than we're used to in science fiction, it's something that I've become more sensitive to in like Scratch and Sniff, even though, like, when we watched it, we still sort of enjoyed it. But in conversations with some of our excellent listeners, including the wonderful musician Lee, who performs our opening credits, I'm understanding extreme discomfort with the abuse that young women experience in this episode.
Oh. Okay, Woody.
Oh, there's so much, though. I really like the plan.
Yeah?
Yeah.
With the police?
With the police and the ropes, and you don't see all of it. Like, it's visually fairly sort of simplified, because you see some scenes at the top of the rope, at the bottom of the rope, and in the middle.
Yes.
And you sort of put everything else together. Oh, and the bit where Rigel's floating off, and it's just great.
I think my Woody has to go to Rigel for this episode.
Really?
Yes, I love him. He's his usual curmudgeonly self.
That's the word.
Yes, but he's also a little bit cowed and clearly not really in a very good place. But
he's had a slice of humble pie.
He has had a slice of humble pie, but he has some hilarious background, like the scene where he tries to catch John, and the scene where he's running away from the Hound, and it's just...
He is the heart and soul of Farscape, isn't he?
He is becoming that very quickly. And that's the story so Farscape.
Join us next week. Oh, whoa, we're doing it the other way around.
Okay, yes, apparently so, yes. Join us next week, where more of the crew are reunited, and while they discover the secrets of an ancient civilization, a serious threat looms.
In Sacrifice What Was Lost, Part 1.
Oh, here we go again with the multi-parters.
Yay!
I'm not even calling it a two-parter at this point. I'm calling it multi-parters.
Well, you've spent all your points.
I know. I can't make any predictions.
Yeah, let's see next week if when you're going to earn any, because you're going to have to, or maybe we can set up a sort of credits. Yeah. No, hold on. I made 3 boo-boos.
Yeah.
That's 300 points for you.
Oh,
how about that?
Well, I'm not sure if that's fair, but let's go with it.
Oh, as if it needs to be fair. It's just a drop of mercury through a positron field,
and it can go 1,000 ways.
Okay, you got 300 points.
Okay.
What do you want to spend them on?
Oh, geez, I just said that I'm not calling them two-parters anymore. I'm calling them multi-parters, just because.
Do you want to guess?
Do I want to guess? All right. We've just come off a two-parter, but it's a season split, so they're doing the Star Trek thing. So what was lost? Part 1. Oh, okay. What was lost? This is going to be an Aaron episode.
Okay.
I'll put 100 points on it being an Aaron episode.
All right.
That's about as far as I'm willing to go at this point.
Okay, keeping the other 200 in reserve?
Yeah, I mean, I need to be able to make some more predictions next time.
Keeps it exciting, right?
It does.
Okay, 100 points on Aaron's return in What Was Lost Part 1, Sacrifice Season 4, Episode 2. Join us again next week for our usual fanfic. Also, check out our links, sofarscape.com/links, where you can submit your synopses. Hey, and I know I gave people a hard time for going long. They were really good. We really love them. You can also support our Patreon on sofarscape.com/support and send us fanfics if you have any favorites for us to read, which we absolutely delight in. And of course, a big shout out to our friend and yours, Lee writes songs for our fantastic opening and closing music. Although this time, how about... No, wait, that's not how we end the episode. I'm cocky.
I'm Kay. So Farscape, so good.
See, we're just away for a season and suddenly forget. At least I forget how to podcast.
Yeah, no, you forgot it last time as well. The end credits seem to have been becoming a little bit more difficult.
I'll figure it out.